The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Thursday, January 13th, 2022. Thank you so much for joining us at the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I am curious what is going to happen when so many people who consider themselves to be conservatives, they consider themselves to be classical liberals, they consider themselves to be on the side of free speech. I wonder what's going to happen when they realize that their party, the people who are behind them, the people running the show on the right, are fascists. Theocratic fascists, to be precise, religious, dogmatic zealots who want nothing more than to dominate the United States of America with a single religion. This comes to mind this morning because I've been perusing social media, kind of what I do during this pandemic. Instead of going out, I just hit social media and I hit the comment sections. Because otherwise, I would suggest that the things that are happening in this country are bad enough for us to pull up, to show up to the town halls, to show up to Capitol Hill, to occupy every place we possibly can. But we're in the Omicron variant, the Omicron variant. And instead of pulling up, what I've done is I've started paying close attention to the language that's coming through social media. And one of the things that I'm seeing is a drastic shift in terms of the language that's coming from some of the younger conservatives who are on the front line of trying to shape the thinking of the future. People like Charlie Kirk, little Charlie Kirk, who sponsored 80 buses to go to the January 6th terrorist attack, what we're calling Insurrection Day. Charlie Kirk, who has spent most of his life just living it up, partying. I mean, he's a millionaire in his early 20s, didn't even bother going to college. He's living the time of his life. All of a sudden, now his language is changing to being very religious, very dogmatic, very theocratic. Steven Crowder, another name you probably don't know, but these are people on the front line of white supremacy, of conservatism, because they have become one and synonymous in this country. They are on the front line of it, pushing religious dogma that is to the exclusion. And that's the key part. It is to the exclusion of every other faith, as well as every other iteration of Christianity. They don't care. We got a lot of news to cover. Georgia Fort will be here on the clock coming up at 8:30 or at the half hour mark, depending on what time zone you're in. Georgia Fort will be here. Rebecca Zor is coming in. We've got plenty of clips and plenty of stories, but it's just something that I saw last night and this morning I've been seeing on a regular basis. You're going to notice more and more conservatives and don't get me wrong, we do know that the Republican Party in this country has always tried to present itself as the religious party, the party of Christ, the party of God. So this is nothing new for this type of posturing, but I would like you to notice how they are co-opting the younger generation. You know, people who are a little more free thinking, people who might, still be religious, but challenge and ask questions and are skeptical, or at least believe in science. At least. Can we at least get people, whether or not you believe in God, let's get you at least believe in science, especially at critical times like right now. Right now, we're facing a plague that otherwise could have been something that we could have controlled if we obeyed the science, if we followed the science, if people got vaccinated. But I digress. The point is we're moving to a place in American politics where the theocratic fascists are hammering down on everyone in their ranks. And I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want you to pay attention. Listen to the rhetoric change from people who we all know. Like, let's not even pretend. Let's not even start, Charlie Kirk, that as if you're a moral person who's following the tenets of Christ, humility, compassion, empathy. Let's not pretend like a single person over there is trying to embrace the better components of faith, the components that literally improve people's lives. No, that's not what they want. They want the type of religion that is going to dominate, Literally, it's called dominionism. I believe the author of one of the books, actually, I'm sure her name is Sarah Diamond. If you read the book Dominionism, you would realize that there's nothing about the people who are trying to dominate and control this society. It's nothing about the people who are behind January 6th. There's nothing about the people who are doing this slow coup that we're seeing moving across this country. On behalf of Donald Trump, some, yes, but more realistically, it's on behalf of an ideology that seeks to put a particular type of Christianity in power to dominate everything else. Forget about, listen, I'm a Christian. I don't go to church because it's a pandemic. But when it wasn't a pandemic, I would go to church. And, you know, I would be one of the first people that they come after to put up on the wall. You know why? Because my particular brand of Christianity does not serve their political goals. In fact, my brand of Christianity really wants to tear down everything that they have erected in the name of a white supremacist Jesus. Speaking of a white supremacist Jesus, Donald Trump was on NPR last night. Talk about a segue. White supremacist Jesus. I want to jump to David. What side is that? We had Donald Trump on NPR. C1. That's the one I want. Steve Inskeep on NPR had an interview with former President Donald Trump. And the conversation clearly went to what happened in 2020, the election, more specifically, the big lie. Now, the clip is short. I don't really want to talk about Donald Trump so much. What I want to talk about is why is NPR honoring Donald Trump as if he's a legitimate actor? Let's take a listen to the clip.
And the only way it's not going to happen again is you have to solve the problem of the presidential rigged election of 2020.
Mr. President, if I'm one more question. I want to ask about a court hearing yesterday on January 6th. Judge Amit Mehta, he's gone. Okay.
So Donald Trump got the opportunity to say exactly what he wanted to say on NPR. NPR, Steve Inskeep, been listening to him for years. But something happens when you allow someone like Donald Trump, I don't care if he's a former president, Donald Trump, who led an insurrection against the United States of America, being placed on one of the largest and most influential national radio networks and legitimized as if he is a person that we should have in the conversation. The only conversation Donald Trump needs to have is with the Select Committee on January 6th. He needs to testify as to his culpability in the entire event. He does not need to be on any of these public stations because Donald Trump is a master of this. He will seize the opportunity to use your airwaves for his benefit to your detriment, and then he'll hang up the phone. These are the people that we're dealing with. We're dealing with a president who believes, a former president who believes that everything revolves around him to the point that he's willing to see this entire country destroyed. Simultaneously, you have the political ideology that is willing to use Donald Trump to accomplish their agenda, even though they know Donald Trump is anathema to everything they ostensibly believe. What am I saying? Very specifically, Donald Trump is not in charge of the Republican Party. The fascists are. The theocratic fascists, to be sure. The people who have their Make America Great Again rallies at churches like John Hagee's church. The people who are behind the family, the movement in Washington, D.C., this secretive movement that is conservative-based theocrats who are trying to influence our political system. Not trying, they are successfully influencing our political system right in the heart of Washington, D.C. You should take a look at the Netflix film called The Family to get a better understanding of who's really running the show. It's not Donald Trump. The people behind him, the people who are changing the narrative, the people who are controlling the 21-year-olds, 22-year-old college students, changing them from being skeptics to being not Christian, but theocratic fascists. Those type of Christians who are more than happy to see the LGBTQ community not only ostracized, but in some cases, I'll leave it to you to finish that sentence. We're dealing with people who absolutely want to control your sexuality, what goes on in your bedroom, what goes on in your house where you pay the bills. They want to control what you think, what you believe in. God forbid you believe in something other than their type of white Jesus. Those are the people who are running the show. And for NPR to put the mouthpiece, because Donald Trump is merely the mouthpiece of all of the insanity that's happening in this country. I need people to be clear. Donald Trump is the symptom. And in fact, he's a symptom that Republicans are starting to get tired of. They no longer have usefulness for, because he was not crazy enough to be anti-vax on top of all of his other idiocy. We're dealing with a contingency in this country that is organized, that is unbelievably funded. They have no shortage of resources to get their propaganda out. We're dealing with a political faction in this country, the January 6ers, the people behind January 6th, the people who marched up the steps. They need to be held accountable. They need to be arrested. But the people who are behind it, the people who are more than happy to overthrow this country on behalf of their selfishness, on behalf of their greed, on behalf of their religiosity, to the detriment of every single other person. Those are the people who really need to be held accountable for January 6th. Another aspect of this is the propaganda machine. I haven't talked about Tucker Carlson in a while on the show, but I think it's important that we continue to understand that this is a multi-tiered functioning operation. And at the top of that operation, on the top of Propaganda Mountain, you have Fox News. Fox News, which is doing a masterful job from one propagandist to another. They are masters of propaganda. They're masters of a false dialectic. They're masters of asking questions that are going to give a negative result that's going to push their audience to rage. And nobody does it better than Tucker Carlson. I want you to listen to this clip and listen to how in a conversation about COVID, in a conversation about in a conversation that has nothing to do with our Haitian brothers and sisters at all, Tucker Carlson uses this clip to make his white audience terrified. And the only way he could do it was by vilifying people from Haiti. Let's take a listen to this clip.
In New York, writes Aaron Sabarium in a shocking new piece for the Washington Free Beacon, quote, racial minorities are automatically eligible for scarce COVID-19 therapeutics, regardless of age or underlying conditions. It doesn't matter what kind of health they're in. All that matters is their skin color. Whites don't qualify. This is not health care. It's punishment. It's punishment meted out on the basis of skin color. Now, the justification for all of this, and the authorities could not be clearer about it. They've taken their ideas directly from America's colleges. They'll tell you why they're doing this. The justification is history. The United States has mistreated racial minorities in centuries past, they say. Therefore, whites must suffer now. So your ancestors did bad things, or people who looked like your ancestors did bad things. So now we're withholding medicine from you. They call this equity. It's not equity. It is collective punishment. It's the North Korean standard. It's the definition of evil. And in case you're wondering that's actually what it is, consider this. A young Haitian man could cross our border illegally today. Many have. That person could show up at a clinic in New York tomorrow for COVID treatment and get preference over an elderly American citizen purely because of his appearance. Think about that. The Haitian has not suffered from systemic racism in America, whatever that is. He just got here, but he goes to the front of the line anyway. Now, that's not a criticism of the Haitian. It's not his fault. He didn't make the rules. But the Americans who did make the rules clearly didn't make them on the basis of public health. They made them in an effort to hurt a specific group of Americans, and they're succeeding. This is happening everywhere.
This propaganda from Fox News is happening everywhere, in every bar, in every restaurant, in every sports facility you go into. Fox News is on the television. And your parents and your cousins and all your friends are being subjected to this nonstop propaganda in which he needlessly, actually, it wasn't needless. He knew that that story did not have any bite to it until he said Haitian. He knew that the fury inside of his audience was not going to be tapped into until he put a color on his description, because he clearly was not going to say somebody from Slovenia. He clearly wasn't going to say if some Yugoslavian immigrant comes in. No, because that's not going to prick the blood of his racist, bigoted Neanderthal audience. He has to say Haitian in order to get some frothy, I'm getting ready to lose it, so I don't want to lose it on his audience. Let me not lose it on his audience as they look for their dentures. Let me talk about him and Fox News profiting off of your family members' bigotry. Yeah, I'm talking to white folks right now. They profit off of the fact that your family members are frustrated with their life. There's a lot of white folks in this country who are disappointed that they are not actually as supreme as Fox News says that they should be. And Fox News has monetized that. And they put the poster boy of Abercrombie and Fitch on there to tell you that you should be mad at the Haitian instead of being mad at his rich ass who gets $7 million a year, gets $7 million a year to make black people the boogeyman in this country. It doesn't matter if you're black, African American, if you have melanin in your blood, in your blood, you in your skin rather. If you have melanin, Fox News has made you the boogeyman for literally no reason whatsoever, other than clicks, other than ratings. Oh, there it is. The ratings. They're outperforming CNN. Fox News is outperforming MSNBC. They always have. You know why? Because America is built on white supremacy and they know their demographic. America is also built on ignorance. They also know their demographic in the form of Jesse Waters, who just got Jesse Waters, the anchor, the Fox News anchor, who just said all of the violent rhetoric that he did against Anthony Fauci, just got his own promotion, got a prime time spot. Only in America can you be a violent, racist piece of crap and get promoted, as well as, wildly sub-mediocre. I used to call these people mediocre. They're sub-mediocre. They're subpar. They don't rise to the occasion. They're simply white, rich, conservative men. And that's what this country was built for in their minds. One more piece to this puzzle. It's not only Fox News that is the propaganda part of the operations. We also have to consider the political part of the operations that are happening around us. And I want to be clear. There are operations that are happening around us right now. There are conservatives. There are Republicans. There are ideologues. There are religious zealots who are in their messages right now, planning their next step. You got to understand what's happening around this country did not start with Donald Trump. If your memory of American history goes only back as far as Donald Trump, then they are going to continue to be able to get away with what this country has been getting away since time immemorial. So it's not just something that started with Donald Trump. It is something that has been executed with a level of efficiency over the last 50, 60 years to undo all of the progress that was made prior to that point. And Republicans, conservatives, the evangelicals, conservative evangelicals, they have been diligently working on their strategy and they have not relented. And we're living in the reality that they shaped. There are operations afoot, and part of it is the political component. We are so far along in the political aspect of this slow-moving coup of stupidity, this slow-moving coup of treason, and this slow-moving coup of Neanderthals. We're at the point where people like Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, Madison Cawthorn, whatever the hell that man's name is, we have now the very bottom of the cesspool of white supremacy. We used to deal with at least people who could pretend to be intellectual white supremacists like Barry Goldwater. At least he was a smart racist. William F. Buckley. He wasn't particularly that good, but he was better than the clowns we have now. I mean, once you see what James Baldwin did to William F. Buckley, you realize that white supremacy has never really been that sharp. But I digress. The point is, we're dealing with the village idiots at this point. We're dealing with the toe scum of whiteness. Here's the thing. They get away with it. Like, no matter how I can describe how utterly deplorable and disgusting their political ideology, their philosophy, the way they treat human beings, the way they attack and vilify marginalized communities, the way they have exacerbated this pandemic, they are disgusting, deplorable scum. 850,000 people dead. And somebody's going to be more offended by the fact that I call them Neanderthals than the fact that they're actively getting more people killed. And now we're dealing with people like Matt Gaetz. Well, there's some progress on the fact that maybe, just maybe, we could draw the line, not at racism, because racism is so saturated in this country, like, forget about it. You're going to get a racist politician. But can we at least draw the line at sexual assault or alleged sexual assault or alleged sexual impropriety for people who chased QAnon for the sake of sexual assault and the sake of, the pedophilia that you said QAnon was so proud to stand against? It seems like a lot of Republicans could get away with it. It seems like there's a lot of conservatives who can literally, Jim Jordan, who turned his eyes at everything that happened at Ohio State, is like one of the leading voices. Everything that happened at Ohio State with all of the sexual assault, all of the molestation that took place, he turned a blind eye to it, according to most reports, and he's one of the leading voices in the Republican Party. So for people who seem to pretend like they care about young people, care about youth, like pro-life, and the people who seem to care about the sexual proclivities of these monsters that do live in this country, they seem to not care when they have an R by their name. That is the case with Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, jury is investigating alleged sex crimes, and his ex-girlfriend. I know it's not a happy morning for Matt. Good morning, Matt. I was on your timeline last night. I'll see you later on today. Your ex-girlfriend testified before the grand jury in the sexual allegation cases. Let's take a listen to the side, and I want you to the video, and I want you to just think about the kind of morning Matt Gaetz is waking up to now, realizing that his ex-girlfriend has testified most likely against him. Let's take a listen.
The ex-girlfriend of Representative Matt Gaetz has testified to a grand jury in a sex trafficking probe of the congressman. NBC News has learned that the ex-girlfriend is seeking immunity from obstruction of justice charges in return for testifying against Gaetz. Gaetz, meantime, has denied any wrongdoing.
Of course, he's denied any wrongdoing. She's taking an immunity deal. Folks, Matt Gaetz is not having a good morning this morning. That just makes the sun shine a little bit better for me. I have no problem reveling in the Schadenfreude. I have no problem reveling in their downfall. Because to be quite honest with you, there are very, to state the obvious, there are very bad people who run this country. They're very disgusting and deplorable people who want to imbue and impose their belief system on you. This is why it's important for us to make moral judgments and be clear of what they stand for and who they are and what they represent. I have no qualms whatsoever about the bellicose language that I use against them, because they're using bellicose policies, belligerent policies to harm our country and our planet. And so if people are upset or disturbed by the fact that we're going to have to get our hands dirty with these monsters, they should not be able, and really, when I'm talking rhetorically, at least get on social media. I'm not telling you to take to the streets because it's a pandemic. But at least on social media, hold the line and don't allow these people to have this peaceful existence where they are causing nothing but misery and grief in the lives of people like you and me. And then they just frolic on social media, sharing pictures of cats. Like, what the hell is going on? These people are leading to nearly 1 million deaths in this country. And yet, we can scarcely even get someone like Matt Gaetz out of office. I don't know his ex-girlfriend. She, if she's his ex-girlfriend, doesn't really speak a lot about her character. But shout out to you for turning state's evidence. We all love snitches when they're on the other side of the equation. All right, let's get ready to go to break before I get into some trouble. When we come back, on the clock with Georgia Fort. Like it or not, Rebecca Zor's coming up at the hour mark, and we are going to be covering so many more stories that are critical to you. Make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe button wherever you're watching. Good morning to everyone on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We'll be back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show right after this.
Morning, y'all. Come on in. This way to get settled. Get your coffee, get your drink. Whatever it is you need to get your morning started. Exclusive. Is it the
Get on with it. Come on, get on with it. Come on, get on with it. Come on, get on with it. This is what I say.
Good morning, Nicole Johnson, One Source Productions. Brother Chuck Diesel.
This is what I say.
Hollywood Diesel. Christy Lionheart, good morning. Ryan, good morning. G-Man, Sip City Socialist, Iris Jones. Tiger, what's going on? Church Lady Shelby Hall, good morning, y'all. I see y'all here. Shoot the Dragon, muffin stuff. Mark S, what's going on? Tyler, what's going on, Brother Tyler? Angela Newman, Nikki Cruz, thank you for your super chat. Ben going off this morning. Peace to the family. Amen to that. Melanie Dennis, Amber G, good morning, everybody. Kev Z, what's going on, brother? Y'all come on in, get situated, get settled, man. Afraid Not, what's going on? One Lost Spirit, what's going on, man? Good to see everybody this morning. I hope y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend, holiday, and everything else. Hope y'all ate good and all that good stuff, man. Watch some good TV. Got some Black Friday shopping done, all of that good stuff, man. Y'all come on in and get situated, y'all. Good morning, the Benjamin Dixon Show, y'all. Stay tuned. Lily, good morning. Track Natasha, Roller Dragon, what's going on? A.R. Walker, Deb, what's going on? Kareem, Dragon Ball, super dope. Good morning.
I don't want you, but I need you. I don't like you, but I love you.
Happy belated birthday to Church Lady. Brenda Johnson, good morning.
But I need you. I don't like you, but I love you. I don't want you, but I need you.
F8L Flaw Dragon, good morning. Patty P, good morning, Patty. Sonny Wright, what's going on?
I don't like you, but I love you. I don't want you, but I need you. I don't like you, but I love you.
Ricky, good morning, y'all. Y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up next. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned.
I don't like you, but I love you.
Amber Layla, good morning, Amber.
I don't want you, but I need you.
Hey, Miss Sophia, good morning.
I don't want you, but I need you.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday, January 13th, 2022. Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. In a minute, we'll be speaking with Georgia Fort on the clock. There's so many updates that are coming out of Minneapolis and Minnesota. And at 9 o'clock at the top of the hour, we're going to be speaking with, obviously, none other than Queen Azor, Rebecca Zor, for Like It or Not. But first, I do want to mention one story before we jump into the rest of the show. it is the entire point of all of the criticism and all of the outrage at critical race theory. The outrage has always been about being able to control Black people, being able to control the history of this country, being able to control all those things that would tell the truth about what this country really is. In a minute, we're going to talk in full about how critical race theory has been used to now silence the voices of so many Black authors across this country. And that was the point all along, wasn't it? Right? It wasn't that there was some big boogeyman of a philosophy that was antithetical to American history. No, it was simply that the people in power can simply not afford to allow the true history of this country to be told. Because if the true history of this country is told, well, then now we have a problem because we have to rectify all of the issues that we have at hand. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. But first, we're on the clock with investigative journalist Georgia Fort.
In Minneapolis and St. Paul, there are now new requirements that you must show your vaccine cards if you're entering a restaurant or a bar or any other basically non-essential place. And so this is interesting as we're seeing new and more COVID cases across the country, because there have already been these requirements, especially if you go out of the country. When my husband and I vacationed in Hawaii, this was a requirement that we had to show our vaccine cards. But with this being now here in a urban area and a metropolitan area in the United States, it's raising questions about the government's, what some people feel, overreach to require vaccine cards, Ben. My question is, if this was the direction we were going to move in, why wait until we have 1 million new cases? You know, it feels very reactionary.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, good morning, Georgia. You just cut through all of it. The point is that we should have did this a year ago. We should have did this a year ago. And we didn't have the vaccine a year ago, but we were at the beginning of the vaccine rollout. We should have done this as soon as we had the vaccine. But the political implications, we have cowards in power. We have people in power who did not want to suffer the political ramifications because literally everything is politicized in this country. And so I'm with you. Why wasn't this done? Yes, it is reactionary. I am glad that they did it, but I want to go one step further. Like, why won't some leader in this country have enough courage to actually shut us down? Because as you said, I think we had like 1 million cases in the past 2 days. We're facing a new level of this pandemic, and I don't think we've learned anything from the first 2 years.
Well, and I feel like I know more people now that have COVID or who have died from COVID in the last 2 weeks than I have the entire almost 2 years of the pandemic, right? And so when you look at this requirement, are they doing this in the South? Are they requiring vaccine cards at all in restaurants or bars in the South?
Well, you got to understand, when we have Governor Brian Kemp in Georgia, you have Tate Reeves in Mississippi. We have Republican governors across the South who are actually doing the opposite. They're doing everything they can to maximize, in my opinion, the number of people who are infected by COVID-19. So they're certainly not doing a vaccine mandate at any of the places. In fact, they actively, Governor Brian Kemp actively worked against Keisha Lance Bottoms' mask mandate. Right. So we can't even get a mask mandate, let alone a vaccine mandate.
Well, and I, to be honest, haven't really heard of many cities or states that are making this a requirement. And so I think that's part of the reason why this news, when I looked on Twitter yesterday, Minneapolis was trending. I was like, oh, Lord, what we done did now. Because you just never know the way things have been going here in the last few years. And so I clicked on the hashtag and everybody was talking about the vaccine mandate. And I don't think that there's a ton of cities or states, if any, that are requiring the vaccine to go into restaurants and bars. But I know other countries have, and it's proven to effectively decrease those rates in that area. And so the thing that's frustrating, Ben, is the things we have learned that work, right? Like the masks and the vaccine. Even if you get COVID while you have the vaccine, like I know people who have gotten it, but they didn't end up in the hospital. They didn't end up on a ventilator, and they were able to survive it, right? So the things we have learned that do work, that either protect you from the virus or equip you with what you need to survive it if you get it.
That's good. That's right.
It still seems like people want to do those things.
That's the absurdity, right? The absurdity is we're dealing with people who are undermining the basics. If we had people who, if we would have shut down, if we would have worn masks, then there would be a group of people who could successfully make their way through this pandemic without getting the vaccine because of their health conditions, right? But we can't even protect those the most vulnerable people. There's a portion of the population that cannot take the vaccine because of their health. There's a very small portion. We can't even protect them because we have people who won't put on a mask, that won't socially distance. We have people that won't even sanitize their hands. We are at a point where the absurdity and the pushback and the reaction to simple, basic things that help keep us healthy are now politicized. And here we are. I'm grateful for the vaccine mandate. And I'm thinking, when you said other countries, I thought about Quebec. Quebec just did a mandate for you to be able to go into liquor stores or to be able to go into cannabis shops. And the rate for first-time vaccinations, I think, more than quadrupled. Right. So the vaccine mandates work and they save lives. And we need to just get down to business here in this country.
If you want that smoke.
Exactly.
You know, and the thing is, any non-essential activity should have that requirement, I think. But that's just my opinion. And I've really tried to be respectful and not push my values or beliefs on people, because I do have friends. I had a very dear friend of mine who was pregnant when the vaccine rolled out. And she said, there's no way that I am getting vaccinated because there's not enough study or research on how this affects the fetus. And I couldn't blame her for that, you know, because at the end of the day, none of us are God. None of us, you and I, we're not scientists. We didn't do the studies. So we're really trusting people we don't know. But having been a person who's taken the vaccine, and I'm still here, and, you know, I'm fine. But also reflecting on other vaccinations, you know, that are out there. And we've taken those without knowing the scientists or the researchers who created them. And those were required to get into school for the most part. So the biggest thing here is for people to do their research. My mom just lost her best friend. She refused to get vaccinated. She didn't trust it. She didn't believe that the virus was a real thing. She went to Mexico on a girls' trip. They were so tired of not being able to travel, you know, all of this time. They finally just said, what the hell, we're going. And she died. She got COVID. She died. Another friend in their girls group is still in the hospital on a ventilator fighting for her life. I had a colleague, a DJ who I worked with at a FM radio station early in my career who didn't want to get vaccinated. He had battled cancer, overcame cancer. Cancer came back at the same time COVID did, and he passed away. You know, and so these stories, they're hitting closer and closer to home. And so I think people really should be taking this seriously. And the last thing I'll say here is, you know, we're at this time, Ben, in this pandemic, where just because something's legal doesn't mean it's right. And so we, as citizens of this country, need to be examining for ourselves what is not just best for us, but what's best for our community. I had a serious conversation with my husband. You know, he owns a boxing club and he wanted to throw a show. Well, we make a lot of money when we throw these shows. So it's, you know, great for our business, great for our family, fun time. It's a great time to get the community together for something that is family oriented. And we haven't been able to throw a show in 2 years. Well, usually we would do one in February for Black History Month. And the brother wanted some money. So he's like, hey, let's get the show back going. And I looked at him and I'm like, babe, do you realize that we are at the worst point in this pandemic? Yeah. One of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to plan to throw the show, you're going to start paying vendors, you're going to pay the DJ, you're going to pay the food person for the venue, all of these costs. And then the government's going to issue a shutdown because look at the numbers, or they're not going to issue a shutdown. They're going to let you do it. And then there's going to be a serious outbreak. And then people you know, love, and respect are going to be sick. And some of them are not going to make it because they're not vaccinated. You know, and so that's like the serious conversation other people should be having with these concerts, with these huge, you know, panel discussions that people, all of these events that people are trying to do that are not essential, that don't need to be in person. People really need to be asking themselves, just because we legally can do this and there's not a mandate for us to not gather 20 or more, should we really be doing this? Is it the safest thing for us? Is it the safest thing for our communities?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is most unfortunate. But history taught us that in the 1919 Spanish flu, it was the third wave. It was really going to that third year. If my memory serves me correctly, that was the worst. And I wish that we could have learned that lesson from history. But it is the most unfortunate event that now history is repeating itself, that people are the most fatigued at the point when the pandemic is the worst. And I wish that we could circle back and get that initial energy that we had at the beginning, where everyone was rightfully scared, right? Fear has its place. Sometimes it kicks you in the butt and gets you up and gets you to protect yourself and your family. I wish we could go back to that point, because we're at the stage now where even me, I'm not even gonna lie, I think I might have been one of the number one people out there, you know, screaming in the wilderness saying, you know, shut it down. But I am fatigued. And I just want to encourage everyone that no matter how fatigued we are, we still have to protect our loved ones.
Absolutely. Well, Ben, after our conversation yesterday about Biden's speech, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Obama did an op-ed in USA Today, something he hasn't really done a lot of, if at all. But I thought it was interesting that at all the times post his presidency, he decided that at this moment with Biden addressing the filibuster, that it was a good time to speak up. And it's because Obama knows the importance of the Black vote, and he understands how critical this moment is. He called out the filibuster as being something that is not protected within our constitutional rights and should be done away with.
Yeah. Yep. No, absolutely. I only wish he would have went to a more prestigious outlet. I don't like the USA Today with their phony fact checking that they do over there. It's a little personal, but I digress. The point is what he said was true. Whatever anyone's criticisms of whatever President Obama did or did not do during his presidency, the fact of the matter is we got to get rid of the filibuster. And I'm glad he added his voice to the concert of voices that have been screaming at the top of our lungs for the last year. Do not allow the filibuster to destroy this democracy. And the thing is, Georgia, this logically to our opponents, they know full well that they're using this as a tool to destroy democracy.
Yeah. And, I think with Obama still being connected with Biden, them having ran on the same ticket and served together during his administration, I'm sure, I imagine to some degree that Obama still has to be an advisor or a consultant to Biden during this time. So it felt as though Obama was showing his support and allyship in the timing. There's no coincidence. Obama could have spoken out about the filibuster and voting rights at any time. But the fact that this op-ed came out the day after Biden's address on the filibuster, it felt like they are in sync and working together still, even if it's in an informal capacity. So it will be interesting to see if Biden is more than just talk on this issue, and if he actually starts to move towards taking action.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because we're at the critical juncture here now. We're in the zone of the 2022 midterms, and if the Democratic Party has any expectation, and I don't know that they should have any expectation that Black people are going to come out and support them, but if they do have any expectation that Black people are going to come out and support them, they sure as hell better believe or make sure that we can vote. We can't do anything in this country if we cannot vote. And the Republican Party has successfully, masterfully taken the last 8 years to ensure that they never have to go through a period where somebody like Obama is president again.
Absolutely. Well, are you tracking any stories this morning as well, Ben?
Absolutely. At the top, we were talking about what's happening with critical race theory. And I certainly wanted to get you into this conversation, Georgia, because we've been covering it. We've seen this country shift from not even knowing, they still don't know what critical race theory is, but not even ever having heard the phrase, to all of a sudden critical race theory becoming the number one persona non grata, right? The public enemy number one. Well, this is a natural culmination of it. Dozens of books written by Black authors are being pulled from school libraries under the pretext that they are teaching critical race theory. But most of the books don't teach critical race theory at all. They are simply written by or about people of color, Black people. And so now with the legislation that's passing around the country, state by state, you have different states that are trying to make teaching critical race theory illegal, giving up Governor the doofus in Florida. Somebody help me out. What is the man's name? DeSantis. He has now given people the capacity to sue, to come in and investigate what teachers are teaching and what books are being taught. So this kind of thing is being taken across the country, where the community is being given authority to attack schools based on the fear that they're teaching critical race theory. And the result was now books are being pulled that are being written about or being written by Black people and people of color.
I was reading something that talked about the way in which the Civil War is taught in Southern classrooms and the way in which the Civil War is taught in Northern classrooms, and the context. And, there is a big difference in terms of perspective. In the South, you have teachers and curriculum, furthermore, that really drives home the point that these people were trying to protect their homeland, and in the North, there's more context about slavery, which is almost always usually missing in the curriculum in the South. And so this is this further conversation about the future generations having true and accurate depiction of what this country was, so they can understand what it is and have a better understanding of what they should make it, what it should become, what they should strive for, right?
That's right.
And it's this principle in our community that we value called Sankofa. You look back to move forward. And without having that historical context, we are positioning our country in a very dangerous position to not know how we got to where we are. But there are some people who want it just that way. And these, I think, are the descendants of those who erased our history, that taught us that we are kings and queens and that we were actually stolen from our homeland. Right? You're not really being taught that in school, right? And that is intentional because it devalues your own self-worth and identity. If all you're taught is that you are slaves, but there's no recollection of what you were before that, how does that impact your self-worth and your identity, right? And so the same descendants who tried to erase that part of our history is now, doing the same thing for the next generation, but taking it to a whole nother level.
Yeah. Georgia, one of the things I got to try it. This might go a little bit too off the rails or off deep, but it was something in I've been going through some physical therapy. And one of the things I realized in physical therapy is until you address the actual injury, you really didn't get to the trauma. Like I got really good at walking on a wound for a very long time. And I thought I was great. But once I started physical therapy and I opened up that they stretched me past that wound, I realized, wow, I still feel the exact same pain in my body that I felt when I injured myself 10 years ago.
Wow.
Until America addresses that original wound, we are never going to fix what's happening in this country. Now, here's the point. The point is, these people know that. The powerful know that. They know that if we as a country never address the wound and we just pretend like it doesn't happen, let's just limp along as a country. Let's pretend like racism, the slavery never happened. Let's pretend like Jim Crow that never happened. Let's just limp along because they know if we ever really address it, if we ever get to the core of it and we really look at our history, that it's going to open up some pain that they would like to pretend is not there, but it's still there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and it's a great analogy that puts the condition of our country into perspective. There has never been a true reckoning. While I think in 2020, there was this bubbling up of one, but it feels as though even that fizzled out because the legislation that was supposed to be passed, the plans for equity, there was a lot of empty promises that were made. And so we are continuing to walk forward without truly addressing the injury again, even when we had to look ourselves in the mirror and realize that this is still a problem, despite the fact that so many people in this country will try to deny it or will try to act like race isn't a thing, or will try to say that people like me and you are race baiting because we're talking about issues of race. When everyone saw Derek Chauvin's knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, they couldn't deny that we still had some very serious issues, even in the 21st century in this country with race. But what have we done besides continuing to walk forward on an injury that hasn't been properly addressed?
That's right. That's right, Georgia. And the thing is, we now, instead of having people who want to heal us, because let's be real, I think one of the things that America and even the South needs to hear is that there is a possibility for America to heal from the original sins, right? It's not as though we have to keep going down this road of destruction because you don't want to look at the reality of our history. America doesn't want to look at the reality of our history, but if we do, we can heal and we can move forward towards a more perfect union.
Well, Ben, I could ask how we do that, but I feel like that would open up a whole nother can of worms that would...
another conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll save that for another day. What can people expect coming up in the next hour?
Coming up the next hour, Rebecca Azor is coming in and she is joining us for Like It or Not. We're going to be talking about the different shortages in labor and really the shift. There's a shift happening. Labor has power. Workers have power, and we can demand more wages. So that's coming up with Like It or Not with Rebecca Azor after the break.
Keep it here for that and more on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No. See, it's hard to be polite. It's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use you.
Y'all, I forgot to tell y'all, I met Tom Hanks once. I met Tom Hanks. He said he was rude as hell, though. He was just so rude. I asked for an autograph, and all he wrote was thanks.
So be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kind of weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat.
So many people here. Watch what I say.
That she can say sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words can't hurt me.
Oh, y'all get it now.
I've been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No.
Hey, y'all, also, I learned how to use disposable masks, like coffee masks or filters to brew espresso. I learned to use disposable masks to brew espresso because they're coffee filters. Coffee filters? Today in the background talking about they might shut this joint down. Man, go to hell today.
It was just a misunderstanding.
Y'all know I ain't got no damn sense, man. Y'all leave me alone. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Our sister from another mister be joining us soon.
No, I checked your number twice, then I went home. But I
Okay, this is the last one. This is for my nerds out there. This is good for the nerds. How did Bilbo survive the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy? How did Bilbo survive the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy? Because all hobbits die hard.
I meant everything I said. You don't have to search no more.
Laura Strada, good morning.
You don't have to prove us to anyone. You don't need to worry.
All right, y'all. Well, we got our little Caribbean vibe going on. Jamaica, December, yay. All right, new patrons. We have Alex Z and Mark S, our new patrons, new Twitch subscribers. We have the Chicken Fried Dragon, who gifted a subscription to Carpe Pax and Antisocial Communists. We have Cluminati017, who resubscribed with Prime and commented, for the culture. That's right, for the culture. We appreciate you. Class Storm resubscribed. Andy from Ohio resubscribed. Hey, Andy. And said, hello. Miss you, Andy. Love you. Mimosa Dragon resubscribed and commented, good morning, everyone. And they have been subscribed for over 10 months. I feel you, Mimosa Dragon. Love you, mean it. Fellow content creator at ActTV James from the internet resubscribed and commented, well, what about her freeze pitch?
You don't need to worry.
I gotta find out what it means, but free speech, yeah. And also, an anonymous user gifted a subscription to Neon Death 07. So, anonymous user, we greatly appreciate you, man. We appreciate everybody, man. And if you want to as well, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, or patreon.com/the BPD show, so you can get exclusive content, laugh at my silly ass, get patron party access, all that good stuff, man. So make sure that you're going to take your ass down over there and get on that Patreon. You don't want to miss it. Miss all this time. Next patron party next week, if I'm not mistaken. Next patron party is next Friday. We're going to see.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday, January 13th, 2022. It's 3 minutes past the hour. I'm joined by Georgia Fort. Rebecca Azor is going to be joining us momentarily. I got a correction on Twitter from a friend of the show, Georgia, by the name of Letterhack. He said that he's watching the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, and I keep saying that Rebecca Azor is coming up soon. But he said, but I believe Ben means the award-winning Rebecca Azor.
That's right. That's
soon.
right. I am so proud of her. And she so deserves that award and so much more. It's amazing to watch her journey and to see the community recognize the star that she is.
Yeah. No, she's dope. In the interview that she did yesterday with the one of the gentlemen, I believe the president of the Haitian Chamber of Commerce, that was a dope interview. So she'll be joining us momentarily. In other news that is completely irrelevant, did you see the Instagram post about the young lady who allegedly found a duffel bag that belonged to Nelly with $300,000?
$300,000. Yeah.
And she returned it. Now Nelly saying gave her 100. Now Nelly saying it never happened. Nelly saying it never happened. I'm inclined to believe it, because if you show me a bag with $300,000, they're gonna get they're gonna get 100,000 of it back. That's so I kind of believe it didn't happen, but it went so super viral that the artist himself had to weigh in and say they lying. He never lost a duffel bag. There's not many. Anyway, I'm not gonna put that man on blast, but there's not many reasons you need $300,000 in a duffel bag.
I can only think of two.
Not a whole lot of
legal.
Neither one of them we're going to discuss. We're just going to leave it there and say that if I found a bag with $300,000, the last place I'm going is to the police. But I digress. Here's one other story, Georgia, that I wanted to get your thoughts on. Ben Shapiro, who is one of the leading voices on the Republican side, on the conservative movement. He's all over the place. He also owns a media company by the name of Daily Wire. Daily Wire is a propaganda outlet, no big deal. They just signed a book deal with a former, I believe he's the current power forward for the Orlando Magic, Jonathan Isaac. Now, his book deal, according to Matt Walsh, who works side by side with Ben Shapiro, he said the following: they tried to cancel him because he refused to kneel during the national anthem. They tried to cancel him for refusing to get the COVID vaccine. Now, Jonathan Isaac, power forward for the Orlando Magic, is speaking out. The Daily Wire is proud to announce that we will be publishing Isaac's upcoming new book, Why I Stand. This book will tell the story of how Jonathan Isaac's deeply held faith led him to reject the divisive politics of the Black Lives Matter movement and embrace his love for America. And so he signed a book deal. Black man signed a book deal with this white supremacist outfit. Love to know your thoughts.
Just sip my tea. Because listen, Jonathan Isaac, it's men like you who make this fight extremely harder than what it needs to be. It's already hard. But we are living in a country that would beat down and kick to the side a man who would take a knee during an anthem at a sports game. And then here now, we're celebrating a man who won't. It's just these instances also further divide us. They further polarize us. What is your fascination with a Black man who is moving to the beat of his own drum? So what? Maybe he didn't want to lose his career. Maybe he didn't want to be ostracized like the athletes that came before him who did. Or maybe he is a Republican. Yeah, okay. What is your fascination with Black Republicans? And does it take for someone who is Black to completely deny their Blackness in order for you to respect them?
Yes. I'm sorry. I thought that was a question. No, that's the point.
It is.
That is exactly right. Because, the reason they are the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro and his outfit, they're doing it exactly the reason you said it. So what if he doesn't kneel, right? That's his prerogative. If he kneels, fine. If he doesn't kneel, cool. If he takes the vaccine, great. If he doesn't, then just shut up about it and don't infect nobody else. That's, you can't force these people to do it without a mandate, and everybody's afraid of doing mandates. So it is what it is. However, the only reason these two white boys are interested in this black man is because they can now exploit it for their own political purposes, which is forwarding the end goal of white supremacy. So whether or not Isaacs is aware of this or even cares, he probably just took the signing bonus and is going to go ahead and just write the book and cash out. But at the end of the day, his words are being used. He has the right to believe what he wants, but his words are being weaponized now by these two guys over at the Daily Wire.
So, what breaks my heart is the fact that the only time Ben Shapiro can see the humanity of a black person is when their political values align. So if I don't believe what you believe, if I don't see the world the way that you see the world, if my values are anything different than what yours are, you don't even see me as human. If you listen to his show, if you listen to his commentary, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Every single time that he talks about a black person who does not have the same values, you will quickly see that he does not see our humanity.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right.
Jonathan Isaacs being used. He's being used. This brother is being used. This is not, I don't know what opportunity or how he saw this deal as being advantageous, but Ben Shapiro ain't aligning himself with anybody
nothing.
Black.
With nothing for the black community.
Unless there's something he can extract out of the deal. Let's just be clear.
So I hear Dwayne about Dwayne, voice guy.
So I was going to say, he probably is being used, but, and this is just my opinion, but he may be okay with being used in this situation. Because so Jonathan Isaac, back when the NBA was in the bubble, is when he didn't kneel with his team. And not too long after the whole kneeling situation, he had a devastating knee injury, tore his ACL. He's been out since, hasn't been playing. So yes, he may be being used, but this could just be I need to kind of stay relevant. You know what I mean? I do need to, even though, because NBA contracts are guaranteed, so he's still getting that pay, and he's supposed to be coming back sometime this year, but he just hasn't been in the conversation at all. Like, he was a very good basketball player, but he just hasn't been talked about because he's been out. So it could be I'm okay with being used in this situation, so I can keep my name out there.
There seems to be an inflection point for people in general. This conversation's got to get really black. So all of our white listeners, please just observe. Just observe. Don't talk. Just observe. There seems to be an inflection point for all people when it comes down to survival. You got to make your money. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't challenge. If you got to pay your bills, so do the rest of us. And I get it. Right. But then there's another one, what you just said, Dwayne. If it's a matter of being relevant, and his money is guaranteed, right? So this is not about a matter of financial survival, but it's about, I just want to be in the limelight, and I'm allowing my narrative to be used to the detriment of the black community. If that's the case, then that's like infinitely worse than simply him saying, I got to get the bag. But I forgot, you're right. NBA contracts are guaranteed. So why would, just to be relevant, you see, you got people like Candace Owens. You got people like, you have all these people for the sake of relevancy willing to do a whole lot of selling out of what's in the best interest for our collective community.
Yeah. Well, and, it will be interesting to see what the book says, why he chose not to take a knee. I'm trying to imagine ways where this could make sense, make it make sense, please. Okay. What if he says that he felt that the team taking a knee was performative? you know, and he didn't want to participate because it wasn't genuine. You know, maybe I'm trying to be the devil's. I'm trying to redeem this brother, like make it make sense. Maybe there's something more there, but the fact that the Daily Wire gives this the stamp of the approval leads me to believe that's not the case.
So hold on. Ben, I think you'll enjoy this. So when the whole thing was happening, and he didn't kneel. He you know, did a bunch of interviews and people was asking him. So this was his quote about why he didn't kneel.
Oh boy. Oh Lord.
It's my thought that kneeling or wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt don't go hand in hand with supporting Black lives. Isaac, an ordained minister, said his life has been supported through the gospel. He was then asked of the correlation between religion and kneeling for the anthem to protect racism.
Oh, this is that guy.
Yes.
Finish this quote. Finish that quote.
Oh, hold on. I got to get to the rest.
Because now I'm remembering. I recall we actually covered that portion of the story. And y'all, listen, don't none of y'all love Jesus more than me, y'all. Come on. Enough of this stupid junk. Like, you know, we all love Jesus. If you love him, you love him. If you don't love him, that's fine. You're cool with me. But come on.
So here
being a Christian doesn't mean you have to be anti-Black. That's white supremacist Jesus 101.
So here was the rest of the quote. I don't think that kneeling or putting on a t-shirt for me personally is the answer, he said. I feel like Black lives are supported through the gospel. All lives are supported through the gospel. And we all have things that we do wrong. And sometimes it gets to a place of pointing fingers about who's wrong is worse. We all fall short of God's glory. And at the end of the day, whoever will humble themselves and seek God and repent their sins, then we can see it in a different light. See our mistakes.
Did you hear the dog whistle? Did you hear the dog whistle? Did you catch it?
Wait, no, actually I was laughing past it. Read the dog whistle for me, and I laughed past it. What was it?
And we all have
he
things
said all
that we
lives
do
matter.
wrong, and sometimes it gets to a place of pointing fingers about whose wrong is worse. We all fall short of God's glory, and at the end of the day, whoever will humble themselves to seek God and repent their sins, then we can see it in a different light. See our mistakes and see people's mistakes in a different light. See people's evil in a different light. And that would help, and that it would help us bring us closer together and get past anything that's on the surface and doesn't really deal with the hearts of men and women.
Y'all gonna make me go pick up my preaching license. Y'all gonna make me have to, honestly, like I honestly, guy, I don't want to do it because I love cannabis. Just to be real. I am not, and I love to cuss. I don't like alcohol, but I just love being who I am. I don't want to have to come out here and bring my spiritual license on y'all. There is nothing about, listen, if you love Jesus, you would run away from the Daily Wire. If you love like all the compassion and the empathy and the forgiveness and the grace and the mercy that you're talking about there, Isaac, then you know you got to run away from those devils over there who want to do nothing but harm to your people, Black man. So I'm gonna leave my religious license in the closet because you know, I might have to cuss them out tomorrow. You never know, Georgia. I'm so tired of these. Wait a minute. Are we Dwayne, do we need to take a quick break? Are we good to go with our sister from another mister?
And yeah, let's go to a quick one song from
she cussing me.
One song from our virtual
Georgia, you were about to say something real quick. What were you about to say?
Oh no, I have no words. I'm Jonathan Isaac he's fired.
That's about it. All right, when we come back, like it or not, it's about to go down.
Wanna call me out in front of friends. Careful where you tread before this ends. You love me and I love you, but butting heads is what we do. Cold-headed, stubborn, wild, crazy lovers. You love me and I love you. Why can't we just match?
Lipsa, good morning.
Why we get so mean, like a match I've never seen.
We've been fighting every day now. It's hard to breathe, yeah, I think I need to break down. I don't know what to say.
Industrial Loss, what's going on, brother? Good morning to you.
This don't feel right. You be going through my phone like trying to find something while you don't trust me. I got this feeling I'll be much better on my own now. There you go with apologies, it's alright. You don't mean it, and I don't wanna try no more now. It's too late. I don't wanna hear you say I'm sorry. It's too late. I don't wanna hear no more excuses. It's alright. See, I'm gonna walk away 'cause I'd rather be alone now. It's alright.
much. I appreciate y'all.
Baby, you don't wanna act right. Give your chance after chance and you blew it. All you wanna do is pick a fight.
Man, I really can do this like all day long. I love this.
Man, always saying what I don't do. Give you everything I had to let
Today, you see him too today?
I'll be much better on my own.
Ben going 100 miles a minute, was typing, looking around, doing everything. I'm like, damn, that man on it.
You mean it. I don't wanna try.
LD, good morning to you.
I don't wanna hear you say you're sorry. It's too late. I don't wanna hear no more excuses.
Maureen Weber, good morning, Maureen.
See, I'ma walk away 'cause I'd rather be alone now.
Lily, love you too. Ill Hustler, good morning, Ill Hustler. Green, you saw them little fingers was gone, wasn't they?
I got it. Your apologies. It's over, you and me. So say you're sorry. So late. I don't wanna hear you say you're sorry. It's too late. I don't wanna hear no more excuses. It's alright. See, I'ma walk away 'cause I'm
Luke, oh, brother.
know you better recognize. Looking at me that way, I know what you're thinking. You mad, wanna leave, don't walk out. Round and round we go.
Maureen Weber, I did thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you.
It's hard to stay, but think about everything that we have now. Yeah. Baby, it's too much to lose. Right now, it's hard to see.
Ear Hustler, shout out to you, Ear Hustler. We are love, light, and prayers. Anything that we can do, let us know, all right? You mean it.
Don't go, promise you I'll make it right. Girl, let's just sleep on it for tonight. Let me change your mind. When the morning comes, I wanna wake up with you, 'cause you're the only one I love. Come on now. How could I mess this up? You're the best thing ever happened to me. Girl, I finally see, yeah. I never even knew how much I really need you.
Yeah, y'all please show Ear Hustle some love in the chat room. Lost their father yesterday, so please show some love in the chat room.
We have now. Yeah, baby, it's too much to lose. Right now it's hard to see, girl, just close your eyes and tell me that you will stay tonight. Come on, baby, stay tonight. Don't go, promise you I'll make it right. Girl, let's just sleep on it.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
One of us got to say it.
Good
James
morning.
ain't here.
Good morning. Good morning. Wait. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
You got to put the J. Good morning. Good. You know, he sounds like Bubba Jakes.
The TD Jakes. I ain't got it.
You got it. Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
It is Thursday, January 13th, 2021. We it's you know what I love about everything that we do. We it's good and professional, and we just don't care sometimes. We would just start the show at the top of the show just laughing and just get into it that way. Rebecca, how you doing? James is out. He won't be here today or tomorrow. So shout out to DJ Exclusive as he's doing what he does. Thank you to Robo Bubba in the background, keeping the music going. How you doing this morning, Rebecca?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I've been doing really good. I can't even front.
What's his name? No, don't say his name on air. Don't say his name.
Jesus, JC for short. You know what I'm saying? The Son, the Lamb, God. You know what I'm saying? But no, I I have been doing really good. And I'm not really, the older I've gotten, it's been like, you don't have to wait until a specific time of the year to get your life together or to feel good about yourself. Or so I'm not that person, but I will honestly say since the year started 2 seconds ago, I made a commitment to myself because, I told you guys, when you've been depressed once, you fight for the rest of your life just to not be depressed again. So it's a constant battle, for the rest of your life. So I've tapped into a lot. Yes, last year I did a lot of work. The year before, which was 2020, it was really tough because that's what kind of took me out.
Yeah.
And then trickled into 2021, but then I did a lot of work, therapy, all that good stuff, getting my health together, all that good stuff happened, right? So now I'm at a place where I just feel good about myself. And and not only in the way of and not only in the way of saying I feel good about myself in the outside, because I know I'm cute. I know I've always been beautiful. It's just God has been good to me in that way. Like Olay said, being ugly is just not my ministry. It's not my testimony. Okay. So, but no, moving on from that though, I just feel good about myself on the inside. I got good news from the doctors. I'm going to a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I expect great news on, updates and how I've been keeping myself up and things like that. But November was the first time I was with my family for a long time since the pandemic. And I'm talking about everybody, my siblings, and my sister, like all of us were together. And, my brother's here now. He came to visit. And my siblings have been coming into my space. And it's just been feeling like, oh, I have guests coming to see me. Wow. That is so amazing because nobody has really been coming to see me. And I've been listening to this album at the same time.
Tell your brother I said what's up, by the way.
Oh, I tell him.
No, I didn't know he was in town, but okay.
Yeah, I'll let him know. And there's an album by JoJo, which I absolutely love, where she's taken, because she's an R&B singer. You guys know JoJo. She's a white girl, but she's an amazing R&B singer that has reemerged in the last 3 years, I guess, pandemic, right? So she actually did a whole album about depression, anxiety, just mental illness, mental health. And she just put R&B behind it. And if you're listening to it, you would think that she's talking about a man or something, but she has made a whole album about fighting mental illness and just tapping into your mental health and actually acknowledging the days where you don't feel like getting up. My song in the morning is, World of Sunshine, where she just says, today's going to be a great day. But she says it with all the runs, right? It's beautiful. So today's going to be a great day. You're going to get up out of bed and you're going to feel good about it. Like, so you create that world of sunshine for yourself. So I've been just really tapping into things that make me feel good. In a long time, and this is my last point because I know I could just ramble on and on, but in a long time since
for a whole 2 hours by yourself,
I know. So for a long time, I've sat on this couch and I just kind of like drop in after a hard day's 16-hour shift work, right? Starting from the morning to sometimes midnight at night. And I'll just stay there. And I just sat there and I'm like, wow, I just feel good. I look up at my ceiling and I'm not feeling tears fall down my face. Yeah. I'm not feeling anxious. I'm not taking drugs to calm the anxiety down. I just can feel myself and I can actually get rest. So yeah, it's been feeling good.
Yeah. That's a praise report. That sounds good, Rebecca. I'm glad you're doing good like that. And when you were talking about the mental health component, it reminded me that coming up in February, actually we might be able to do it this month. We're starting a mental health series on the morning show here. We're going to be bringing in this Black psychiatrist who's going to come in and just kind of collectively help us to discuss all of the trauma and grief that we as Black people, but as human beings during this pandemic. I mean, we've had this pandemic. I don't think everybody should be feeling like they're okay. I think we should all make a mental note that we really should not be okay with what's going on around us. If you feel like something is wrong, that's because something is very wrong.
But that's what makes it okay. When you realize and you tap in, and I read that post too, look, the world is just gone it's just a fool, right? And then at the same time, what's happening in so many different areas, it's not right. It ain't okay. And I posted this the other day. But that doesn't mean that we can't acknowledge that and then little things that are happening in our life, little feel-good moments that are happening in our life.
Enjoy them.
We can't just enjoy that too. Because when things, we acknowledge that, tap into that, you know what I'm saying? Joe Biden. What do you think about Joe Biden? He's trash right now. Facts, right? And then you just move on and you go and, you know, you look at, dang, I really saved $300 this month. And, you know, I that's in my savings account. Proud of me. I really walked 5 miles this week. Wow. And I thought I was just going to do 2. I'm really proud of me. So don't forget to just, if there are good moments that are happening to you, because I said this too, 2022 ain't been here for 2 seconds. And what we're doing is taking a lot of bad things that have happened. Betty White, who was a year away from 100 and feeling like our lives are over. Oh my God, 2022 ain't no good because Betty White done died. She was 99.
Not even a year. She was like a month and a half.
Yeah,
from being
right, away from 100. So she was a great person. She lived her life. And word on the street is the last thing she said when she died was her husband's name. She won't worry about y'all. Okay. So, so you know what I'm saying? Like, that was beautiful. The fact that she enjoyed her life, and hopefully we get to have more and more decades of ours to enjoy, especially as Black people. But you know what I'm saying? Like things like that. You know, Sidney Poitier dying. I feel like media should have definitely tapped in more on covering those beautiful moments, how historical this man is. But we did that. You know what I'm saying? We tapped in. We started watching movies. I watched movies I'd never seen before of this man. And just, you know, enjoy it because he lived his life as well. We're going to live ours, right? We're going to live our lives. And I think that I know that the last 2 years before that have kind of trained us into taking a lot of the bad and saying, damn, 2020 all over again. We did it for another year. Damn, 2021, 2020 all over again.
Nah, 2022 got to be different. I
challenge you guys. Yes, I challenge everyone to, if you do have good moments that are happening for you, celebrate yourself. I don't care if that's 2 little things that have happened to you. A phone call where you got an interview and you got your second interview. Celebrate yourself. Sit down and have a glass of wine and say, listen, I've been that. Always been that. I'm always going to be that. That's me. Amazing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Small celebration. I can move my hips now.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to move my hips for years from an injury.
You were stretching ass, man.
And I can move my hips. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be able to do that down there. It's supposed to be able to rotate and wind like that. I was like, oh, so I'm going to celebrate that. 2022 is going to be like my hips. It's going to be restored. It's going to be moving. And it's going to be sexy. Here we go.
His hips ain't going to be lying.
Right. Ben about to be out here like Shakira.
Boy, listen, I'm telling you. I've injured myself when I was younger. I never really knew your hips are supposed to be able to do some of those motions. So like, you know, we kind of having a good time in 2022. And I hope all the rest of you, let me pull it back before I get too far off. I hope the rest of y'all are having this.
We'll be busting it wide open. Okay, we understand, man. We get it.
Anyway, Tucker Carlson or somebody. Let's get back to politics.
All right, let's head over to politics.
We fall into that rabbit hole. I digress. What are you looking at, Rebecca? I mean, there's a whole bunch of stories that we've already talked about, so we don't honestly have to talk about politics. But I did want to get your opinion on this Tucker Carlson. Yeah. And I'm not setting you. I don't want to set you up just to be mad because he does attack Haitian men in this clip. And unfortunately. Yeah, that's what caught me.
And I haven't seen this. You know, listen, guys, I haven't seen this. So this is going to be my live on air reaction to this. So, yeah.
Matter of fact, run it, Dwayne, and put us in the reaction shot if you can. If not, just run the clip.
In New York, writes Aaron Sabarium in a shocking new piece for the Washington Free Beacon, quote, racial minorities are automatically eligible for scarce COVID-19 therapeutics regardless of age or underlying conditions. It doesn't matter what kind of health they're in. All that matters is their skin color. Whites don't qualify. This is not health care. It's punishment. It's punishment meted out on the basis of skin color. Now, the justification for all of this, and the authorities could not be clearer about it. They've taken their ideas directly from America's colleges. They'll tell you why they're doing this. The justification is history. The United States has mistreated racial minorities in centuries past, they say. Therefore, whites must suffer now. So your ancestors did bad things, or people who looked like your ancestors did bad things, so now we're withholding medicine from you. They call this equity. It's not equity. It is collective punishment. It's the North Korean standard. It's the definition of evil. And in case you're wondering that's actually what it is, consider this. A young Haitian man could cross our border illegally today. Many have. That person could show up at a clinic in New York tomorrow for COVID treatment and get preference over an elderly American citizen purely because of his appearance. Think about that. The Haitian has not suffered from systemic racism in America, whatever that is. He just got here, but he goes to the front of the line anyway. Now, that's not a criticism of the Haitian. It's not his fault. He didn't make the rules. But the Americans who did make the rules clearly didn't make them on the basis of public health. They made them in an effort to hurt a specific group of Americans, and they're succeeding. This is happening everywhere.
So let's talk about, let's start from the back and then work our way to the beginning of his trash-ass statements. So, you know, him saying, you know, a Haitian that gets here at the border, of course, a Haitian man, because whatever, you know, coming here from the border and then, you know, being here illegally and then him getting healthcare or the COVID-19 vaccine before a white man is problematic, right? It's not fair. But when the U.S. minds Haiti's business and goes in and takes land from them and pay and forces the people who are from that land to give up their land for pennies on a dollar and then hire those same people to work on that land that their families have come from for pennies on a dollar, taking our rice, you know, our rice farms from us, which is how we made a lot of our money, you know, and taking advantage of us during the earthquake of 2010, which yesterday was the anniversary of it. Yeah. But taking advantage of us in that time where we were donated over God knows how many millions of dollars and only built 6 homes. Six homes. That money that could have rebuilt the whole country island, right? But 6 homes were built by the U.S.
You didn't.
The U.S.
you
has
know,
constantly.
How many? Just for the impact, there was like $250 million raised for Haiti, and they built how many homes?
6 homes. 6 homes. And that was the Red Cross partnering with Hillary Clinton, but that's neither here or there. But that's always around somewhere in the corner. It's in my tuck, always. But to hear this white man say these things. About and just have to tap in on the Haitian, right? The Haitian immigrant, right? Just have to tap in on them and say that they don't deserve. No, we're gonna come. Because I am Haitian, but they are gonna come here, and if they get the opportunity to get the vaccine, they're gonna get it because what's happening is this country is taking those vaccines, right? And the vials that they're allowing them to rot and throw them away or just nothing. Like literally, they're taking the vaccine and doing all kinds of things other than helping other countries. And when it came to helping other countries, when other countries were tapping in for assistance, they were saying, but for a little price, we can give it to you. We can save your people, but for a little price. If not, we just gonna throw them vials of vaccine away because we're evil like that. So if they're able to get it, if they're able to get assistance, that's why there are these vaccine setups where these places that are giving the vaccines just for people of color, because those people are not, and I say people of color, I'm talking about black people. I got to be clear sometimes because it be those communities that are not black communities that are not getting the access to them, and it's that is the reason why they're setting them up just for black people, because when the vaccines first came out, black people weren't able to find them in their communities. They were only available to those in the suburbs, mostly to the white.
What was that guy's name?
The white people.
What was this? The black senator from Florida who came on the show. He was a state representative. Omari. It was Omari. He came on and said that the vaccines that were being sent to the black community were being taken by people from the white community, coming to our community, getting the vaccine before black folks. I'm sorry, Rebecca, I forgot exactly all about that.
But that's what came into my head because we were discussing DeSantis and how he was challenged by that senator about, listen, in these communities, why aren't they being delivered to these communities? Why? What's the reason? What is the reason? And I remember DeSantis giving a BS a reply, but this is why we're not just set. This is almost like when we said, hey, Black Lives Matter. Everybody, oh my God, but all lives matter. Oh, it's one of those things, right? Because there was nothing available for Black people to go get the vaccine. And all of a sudden, it's like, now that we were like, okay, we're just gonna set up shop here for them, white folks just came into the neighborhood. We should be able to get those vaccines too. I don't understand why we can't get them. I feel like it's racism here. Yeah, it's stupid. It's
okay,
dumb.
it was
what he said
Omar.
is dumb.
Omari Hardy. He's not a Florida senator, but he's a Florida House of Representatives.
Yeah.
He's the one that gave us they came and took them, and we had to secretly, in Florida, they had to secretly announce when vials were coming to the Black community because so many people, and funny, some of those same people were pretending like they didn't take the vaccine in the first place, right? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just all terrible. Now, all of that to say, mind your white business. And then let's go to the beginning of his comment where he said, it's almost like he said allegedly, allegedly those people did bad things, like historically to Black people here. Allegedly. Yeah. It's almost like he was saying that. Like he said, like, no, folks who look like you, your ancestors did do that shit. They did that. They did that. I don't know how, but your ancestors, slavery, like, they did that. Okay? So, I mean, the ones that maybe have a little tinge of red in their hair and stuff, you indentured servants, you know what I'm saying? You had like a place to stay, things like that. But all your others, Tucker, your family
people definitely oppress somebody.
Yeah, they did that because it's still running through you. You still you are doing your ancestors' work. Man. You are holding the baton. But for you to, and he sat there, and I'm just looking at God, Fox.
Put his face back on the screen. I can't.
Fox really put that man with the toupee on there just to disrespect Black people and say that we don't deserve to have our communities.
That's right.
Get the vaccine, get access to the vaccine in totality. Black people in this country to get access to the vaccine. And it's not saying, you're saying that Haitian people like that aren't oppressed. As soon as do you not see that them getting from where they were to even get somewhere in the United States, that was all drenched in oppression? Do you not see that? Do you not understand that whole journey? Do you not see that what they were doing to them people in Texas was drenched in oppression, was drenched in your ancestors' doing?
Tuckums.
That's not the only clip that you were talking about either, and you didn't drop the clip, but the clip is actually worse.
I didn't drop the clip. You say I didn't drop.
You dropped the graphic of it. I pulled the clip. We have it. Tucker Carlson comparing someone to.
Maybe you could have left that part out.
You didn't really drop the clip, Rebecca, but you dropped the picture.
He said, "Let me clear the air."
Well, I was trying to.
have to come on.
Well, my point was she hasn't seen the clip, so she doesn't need. I think this reaction is going to be raw too.
Well, listen. Now this one, the reaction might be a little bit. I don't want to. Let's save that one for the after party.
No, Ben.
No,
we already here.
Trash.
Tucker Carlson can say it, then we can.
No. We can play it. No, we'll play it because we can play it. It's not a problem. I just want to say this last thing about this clip before we go on. It's the fact that Tucker knows that he could use the word Haitian and instantly get away with it because, one, everybody sees them as immigrants versus as a Haitian American community here in the United States. That's number one. He also knows that if he says Haitian in the minds of everyone in his audience, they're going to instantly think Black. And it's not like a police officer who pulls over somebody is going until they ask you, until you speak to them, until they some type of identification, all they see is Black, right? When we get pulled over in this country, when they see us, they don't be like, oh, that's a Haitian person. No, Tucker knows his audience. And he knows that when he says Haitian, it translates into the boogeyman of Black. And that's why he pulled it in. It literally had nothing to do with his argument. But he could not complete his argument without making his audience afraid of some Black folks.
And who is the most oppressed person in America? You see, some like to argue the Black woman, but the Black person is the most oppressed person, right? Now, who is the most oppressed immigrant, right? The Black immigrant. Now, if we want to take it, further, who is the most oppressed Black immigrant in America? The Haitian.
And the reason I can't say nothing to that except an amen It's because if you grew up, especially in South Florida, you know firsthand what she said was the damn truth. Period. Run this next clip. This next clip is something. Tucker Carlson Part 2. It's a little different.
So yesterday was Sunday. You may have found yourself on the couch, idly flipping around the TV dial. And if you flipped far enough, you could have had the shock of your life. Michael Jackson was on Face the Nation. Now, to be clear, this wasn't video of Michael Jackson performing his hit songs in the 1990s. This appeared to be a living version of the international pop star that news reports claim died of a drug OD more than a dozen years ago. And yet, despite those claims, there he was, fully, undeniably Michael Jackson talking on television. How can that be? Honestly, we have no idea. We're not theologians here. This is merely a news program. We can only show you what we saw. Here it is.
There's nothing more important for us to do than protect our Constitution and our democracy. What the Republicans are doing across the country is really a legislative continuation of what they did on January 6th, which is to undermine our democracy.
See? Michael Jackson. That was him. No Billie Jean. Apparently he's given up singing. Now he's telling lies about politics. Same man. If you've ever seen Michael Jackson, you cannot forget the face. Though admittedly, he's had a lot of work done since we saw him last.
I'm trying not to...
Next clip. Nah. Yeah, I done sacrificed too much.
No, I'm gonna just say...
Y'all are not about listen. I voted for Joe Biden, took it on the chin, lost all kinds of supporters. I lost 50% of my financial support once I decided to go against Donald Trump and support Joe Biden. Y'all not about to make me get in trouble twice on these internets.
No,
I've got comments.
I'm not taking it there. And Light, stop playing with me because I'm about to make my comment. Now, all I gotta say is
I got nothing to say.
It was the still for me. So I was like, that's not Michael Jackson. That's when I first saw the clip. That's not Michael Jackson. That's Nancy Pelosi. And then I just stared at the clip.
And you realize he got
Nancy Pelosi, and that was it for me. And I died for like...
Nope. Listen, I grew up in church. There are plenty of occasions. I've been trained for this moment, Rebecca. You're not going to believe it.
That was it for me. Now
I was a preacher kid. I lived on the second row of the pew of the church, laughing at every ass backwards country Bama person that got up and sang, and I made it through without laughing. You ain't gonna make me laugh here.
I'm gonna laugh because I've always gotten in trouble for laughing. I laughed in the middle of 3 solos. I think I've done in the middle of the solo.
How you gonna laugh in the middle of the solo?
I can get that picture off. Here. Get it off right now.
Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
No,
but the fact that this is Fox News, folks. This is the top of this is the top of propaganda mountain in this country. This is
how they win, though.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the chat and everyone's saying how funny it is, and I'm not gonna lie. Like at first, it's like, damn, he just did that. He just did that. Wow. But this is Fox News. This is how they win their court cases as an entertainment channel. And on one end, they're laying something on one end, they're laying out something like that, like Haiti, like Haitian immigrants having the upper hand against
and then they do this
white people and claim that's a legit story without actually showing the real policy and what's behind it and just drawing their own lines and their own framing around the situation. And then they put this BS up and
yes,
but somehow we're news.
Yeah, David, I totally get it, right? I understand it. And that's why we...
that's our official position on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show.
I would love for you to stop stop it. I need to get her off. But let me tell you, I honestly, I agree with you, David.
Some context for what y'all were talking about.
Thank you. But I agree with you 100%, David. But I'm going to laugh.
I just had to center you all.
But I will say, that's why you play that game. I don't care. If they want to do entertainment, we can do entertainment too. We entertainment politics around here. They made it a thing. It's going to be a thing over here.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all really want to entertain.
That's what it is. We can roast you too.
If you really want to roast.
We've done this, and it's okay. And honestly, that was just funny to me, right? But it's not news. So no matter how he said, that was him taking a jab at her. Now,
if you'd like to know whether or not it's funny to me, go to patreon.com/like.
Yeah. Now, mind you, it was a, you know what I'm saying? It was a nice little layup. But I'm going to be honest with you. Like, we got more, we say more things about them too. I think that channels like CNN, who sit there and just be trying to ride the fence, need to hop over and pick a side and start digging in too. Because Don Lemon just talking about Nicki Minaj's booty being fake. Ooh. I mean, like, we got people like Tucker Carlson out in this world really taking jabs on folks. What y'all gonna do?
Okay. There we go. Now I can handle that angle.
So, can you imagine Wolf Blitzer doing what Tucker did?
And his monotone voice and his no reaction on his face, I would absolutely love it. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Because that's what time it is, right? That's why I do what I do. That's why I don't mind getting on their pages and calling them Neanderthals and savages to their faces. Like, bump all this social media stuff. Like, well, when Omicron is over, I'll leave it alone. Like, I'm so ready to get up out this house and go out into these streets because these fools really think they can get away with a little bit of everything. And I think they actually can. He can actually get away with this mockery of a segment, practicing his stand-up routine on air for the entire country to hear, and get away with it. And then be considered
and
news.
I feel like he didn't even originate that joke. He got that from online, and he made that an actual headline.
Actually, Michael Jackson.
And it was funny to me.
He tweeted it.
Y'all got to step y'all game up because this is how Republicans win all the time. Well, y'all be like, see, this is the problem. The Democrats or whatever side do it all wrong. We got Joe Biden taking pictures and going missing, but never producing nothing for it, right? Yet produce something that we can go off of. Yo, Joe Biden is doing his thing over here. He's making it happen. And he's killing them in the West Wing with the Ray-Bans on. I need you guys to understand how to do it because we can't have men who are balding once coming up with a toupee, sitting on an anchor desk, making millions of dollars in a minute, vaccinated as hell, talking about not being vaccinated. They winning over there. And then now they're taking jabs that are amazing. They winning over there. They winning.
They taking jabs at who now, Rebecca?
They're taking amazing jabs. It's great. Their jabs.
Oh, you're saying the jabs were amazing? Yeah. It was. It's definitely something I would do.
It was good. Now step up your game. That's all it's telling me. Yeah. Step your game up. If
don't get mad, get even.
Yeah, and if Democrats believe that what they're saying and what they're fighting for is an actual, is the truth, it's, lay it out there. Keep fighting for what you're fighting for, but don't go missing in the ring. Like, don't run away, because I feel like online it's just like, you guys aren't ready. Sharpen the pencils, get together, come back with something. Reconvene, because y'all ain't giving nothing. Yeah.
All right, so to save you from being canceled.
No.
Who, me? I ain't gonna.
No, man.
I can talk about Nancy Pelosi. Ben can't.
No, I can. Her daughter already blocked me on Twitter. I don't feel like I don't need. I don't want to. You just don't understand. I don't feel like fighting all the time. Y'all stuff we say on here turns into fights, and I'm already neck deep in fights with everybody. So I don't need just another one, especially not on behalf of Tucker's cornball ass. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not gonna laugh at Tucker, because if I get in trouble I stay in trouble with Nancy Pelosi's and all the Democrats. There's not a Democrat that I don't get in trouble with. I just don't feel like it today. That's all. But tomorrow, yeah, we can laugh tomorrow. Kim Kardashian, we have a clip. They are being sued. Kim Kardashian, who else was it? There's three. There's Paul Pierce, former NBA player.
And Floyd Mayweather Jr. They are all being sued
for fraud, for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency. Not Bitcoin exactly, but it's cryptocurrency fraud. Let's take a listen to this clip and how these celebrities allegedly got over.
several celebrities are being sued for allegedly leading investors into a crypto pump and dump scam. The list includes Kim Kardashian, Floyd Mayweather Jr., and Paul Pierce. They're being accused of, quote, making false or misleading claims to investors about Ethereum through social media and other promotional platforms. That's according to a class action complaint filed in the Central District of California. The lawsuit says the celebrities told their millions of followers to buy the cryptocurrency only to sell it once the price was inflated.
Yep. Now, this isn't a statement against all cryptocurrency, but it really is a statement to, like, y'all don't follow these celebrities to your own financial demise. You got to understand by the time a celebrity is promoting something, it's already too late for you to really make some money out of it. You're getting taken to the bank. Go ahead.
So hold on. I mean, I understand. Yeah, what they did. Yeah, that's foul. But that's what goes on with the stock market every single day. Like these white people, I don't know how to put it. That's making all this money off of it. That's how they do it, man. Like, and
go ahead, take your time.
I don't know what else to say. It's.
I don't disagree with what you did. This is how it's done. This is how it's done.
It's scammy, but when it's
this is why I'm talking to the victims of it versus like what was the story earlier today in today's episode? We were talking about somebody taking an action that's detrimental to their audience and for their own personal financial gain. Right? This is the same thing. Jonathan Isaacs, right? We were talking about him being willing to sell his quote unquote story for his own personal gain, to the detriment of the black community. Same exact thing. They're replicating behaviors that they did learn, right? This is how you come up. You inflate the stock, matter of fact, the system's so good, you don't even have to believe in a stock to make money off of it. You could hedge against it. You could bet against it and make money. All that is true. I think everybody in the audience should know that this is what they're doing with you. When you follow these celebrities, not every single one of them, but man, come on, like, it is increasing their bag to your detriment.
And again, when white people are doing it, they're getting paid. And I believe that.
Hey, Kim Kardashian white?
I'm about to say something. Hold on. Okay, I'm about to. I don't think Kim Kardashian is really going to be just as affected as the rest of them. Of course, it's going to make better headlines because it's Kim Kardashian, though. And she's Armenian. If you want to say it's, white, black, whatever, or a little brown, little tan.
White passing. We'll go with that.
Because I used to work for a woman who was from Iran, and she looked like her. But she used to literally say, I'm from the Aryan race of them, because she looked white. But I used to tell her, but don't they call your family members terrorists? I used to have to get her together, like put her into, and then she was telling me that she's olive colored. And I'm like, what is that? Now you're reaching, sis. Hey, I know you want to be a person of color, so they're going to reach and find one. And olive was the one that they found. And I said, no, it ain't it. But anywho, we're not, that's far from what we're talking about. But I'm saying, though, I've heard of this crypto scam, and so many like people who are white are getting away with it and getting money and cashing out on this. And what's his name is already like a billionaire. Right?
Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather. And Paul Pierce, I don't know his stances in it.
No, I'm joking.
But this is, and it's pretty, and I love Paul Pierce, by the way, but it's pretty scammy. It's pretty scammy, this whole crypto thing. If you don't know how to do it, if you do know how to do it, I don't know, but it's pretty scammy. And now they have, the new things is crypto, NFTs, it's,
NFTs,
all kinds of things that are happening.
If you found your way,
if you found your way in it, God bless you. But if you are, caught up in it and you happen to be, I think, black, it's just like, you're probably not going to get the same benefits that everybody else is getting from it. Just like we see with weed, right? When they're selling, marijuana, how we see how that's going. I think it's the same thing in this.
It's when a market gets saturated, you get this, right? When crypto, if you got started in Bitcoin at the beginning, you're rich now. You're just stupid if you got properly started. But when a market gets saturated like this is when you get celebrities coming in to push it one step a little further so that they can squeeze out just a little bit more before the bubble bursts. Now, is crypto in general a scam? You're going to have a lot of people on the internet who say yes, a lot of people who say no. I'm not wading into that because I'm picking my fights. I'm not fighting that argument. Yeah. But what I will say is that they are at the stage of maturation in their business model where the scam is the thing. NFTs, if you're just now getting into non-fungible tokens, there's a good chance you're going to be scammed. And I don't mean by fraudsters. I mean, the whole thing is a scam.
Like, how are you NFTing a picture? Like,
well, no, it's even worse. It's to the point where now if you want, everybody wants to sell NFTs. This is the hustle, y'all. Everybody wants to sell non-fungible tokens. Do you know how much it costs to sell non-fungible tokens on Ethereum now?
It's going to be a bigger level than that. That's just what you're seeing now. But even the environment in Meta, the metaverse,
Meta is
going to literally the entire, any aspect, your desk, your home, anything, your virtual whatever that they're envisioning, is all going to be worth money, is all going to be worth crypto. You're going to be able to sell nothing for something.
Now, don't get me wrong. Now, I do want to flip it and say this. Now, the aspect of crypto that I am seriously supportive of, besides the actual underlying blockchain technology, which is actually pretty dope, underneath it is the challenge to the banking system. I am all for sticking it to Chase, to Bank of America, to Wells Fargo. I'm about that life in terms of crypto.
They probably in on it too.
But on this side of it, though, they're trying to get on it. Well, that's why they're fighting it so hard. You have people like Jamie Dimon coming out, CEO of Chase, coming out, speaking out against it. You had, I think Hillary Clinton came out and speaking against it. So to me, that's a signifier to say, okay, there's something there about it that is challenging and is disruptive and is going to mess up some of the way the banking system works today. And everybody who has overdraft fees should say amen. I'm good on that part. But the part that I think people need to be aware of is that if you're on the front end and you're just now getting into it, you better really understand that it is operating like Dwayne said. It's operating exactly like Wall Street at this point. It's no longer a tool of liberation. It's a liberation for people who already got crypto.
Yep.
You trying to get into crypto now? Ha. Okay.
But that's the system. That's how it works. But you know who's going to get in on it? And while we literally Black sleeping, they're going to, no. Those same corporations that we're talking about. That's why we see them being able to say, hey, we're going to lower our $35 fees and it's going to make it $10 now.
Oh, they're going somewhere else now.
They're finding ways to tap in. They're going to say, you know what, for this particular huge crypto business, crypto brand, we're going to partner with them. Now it's going to come out. Bank of America has now partnered with crypto. It's going to be all of that because when you got money, you can do things. And somebody was saying rich privilege could be any race. You are right.
Absolutely
rich privilege can be any race, but when it comes to white privilege, there's a difference on that, right? Because you can have money and still be in jail. You can have money and be black, but see,
let me give you this stat. Black people, it is a statistical study showing that black people born into wealthy families are far more likely to end up poor than any other race. So there is a racial component to economics in this country. And if the fact that I even have to say that, considering we used to be chattel slavery.
Period. That's really it. That's all.
Did we miss anything, David?
I wanted to throw you one more story and then we're going to hit the after party, but I think it's worthwhile covering.
It better be worthwhile too, because
Rebecca and I are going to get into it. It's okay. I threw unintentional shade earlier.
No, let's
really
get that.
wasn't
Go ahead,
intentional
David.
at all.
Go ahead,
I was really just trying to give her a heads up. But MJ Rodriguez, the first trans woman to win a Golden Globe, and she's not white.
This is a clip of her from.
This is B-roll, but we have a clip of her.
Okay, yeah, because I thought you said we have a clip of her speaking. She's speaking about the. Is this it right here? Let's run the clip. Let's hear her thoughts because she spoke about the historic moment. If we have that clip, let's run it.
Hold on 1 second so I can help Dwayne.
This is for the LGBTQAI, Black, Latina, Asian, the many multi-beautiful colors of the rainbow around the freaking world. This is not just for me. This is for y'all.
That is MJ Rodriguez reacting live on Instagram last night after making history for becoming the first trans woman to ever win a Golden Globe.
There are going to be so many young individuals, young, talented, thriving individuals that are going to be able to trail in and storm in through the door. This is for y'all.
MJ won the award for Best Actress in a Television Series Drama for her role as Blanca on Pose, which ran for 3 seasons. MJ also made history last year when she became the first trans woman to receive an Emmy nomination in a lead acting category. And when we caught up with her, she spoke about the power of her nomination.
It's no longer a space where discrimination because of who we are. That's no longer the case. We're showing up and we're doing the work.
MJ also posted this to her Instagram following her win, saying, "They will see that a young Black Latina girl from Newark, New Jersey who had a dream to change the minds of others would with love. Love wins. To my young LGBTQAI babies, we are here. The door is now open. Now reach the stars."
Dope.
Absolutely love this for MJ. And I'll say this, in these moments where the firsts are happening, it's nice to see, still first, right? It's nice to see trans people be able to be acknowledged without, disrespect. Like, somebody
not much disrespect because they're obviously,
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was some, there were people who were talking.
To your point, though.
Yeah, that MJ wasn't deserving, but MJ's an actor. MJ did the work, regardless of being trans or whatever. She's an actor. And I feel like, in these times, in this moment, it's bigger than any of us could fathom, because I think just not too long ago, this would have never been a thing because she was trans. She would never be considered. But we would know we would see the greatness, we would see the passion, we would see all of that being done. But a low-level person would have probably taken this award just naturally because that's just how our world was moving. And now we're fighting for trans people. Now we're fighting for, any oppressed person.
That's right.
To be able to be seen in these spaces. And that's what's causing a lot of these people to kind of shift in a way. We have a lot more work to do, but this is something that is groundbreaking, and I hope will continue.
And to what you were saying as we get ready to go to the after party, patreon.com/like it or not to become a patron. To what you're saying, Rebecca, if you need a scapegoat, if your ideology, if what you believe in needs somebody to be like your scapegoat for you to attack, for you to rally your supporters around, then that your ideology is one of oppression. And like you said, Rebecca, we on the side of liberation of all people. So congratulations to MJ and to all the, there are some people out there, but of course there are going to be people out there because Fox News, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, we talked about them earlier. Of course, they came out fangs out attacking MJ. But you know what? That's because they don't have anything to offer. They only can make you afraid of people. So, screw them. Congratulations, MJ. And let's get all these first. Let's get all the first out of the way in the next few years.
Yeah. And as well as, and I'll say this as well, I wanted to tell you, David, my friend reached out and I did send you, to go reach out to them. I hope you did reach out to him. His name is Ben as well. His name is Ben. Yes. And he actually knows MJ and actually wanted to come onto the show and discuss how important that is. The thing about Ben, we used to do a gospel radio show back at Florida A&M University together. And now we are, now he's in Hollywood and he's working on different projects and he works alongside a lot of celebrities amongst MJ, but now he's a preacher who came out as gay. And, so that was a big thing for him. He has a book on that as well. So coming on the show to discuss that. Yeah, please do. Absolutely. Make sure you tap in. All right. So that's going to be great for next week.
Y'all hashing this out on air. He's going to
be great. Because I know he's cussing me out in his head like, heifer, you don't even send what you're supposed to send on time.
Sorry, Dave, I got your back.
I don't have to curse out of my head because I know you're going to blow yourself up.
I get it.
I won't let her in tomorrow, David. I got your back.
Yeah, I get it. But I love you, David. And that's
she's not even going to be here tomorrow. So Rebecca's not going to be here tomorrow. DJ Exclusive is going to be out, but with the rest of the team, we'll be here. Rebecca, before we go to the after party, you want to give some salutations to the public group?
I actually just wanted to thank everybody. No, it's Letterhack on Twitter. I was just laughing about him earlier. Letterhack said, I keep hearing Ben say, Rebecca's coming up, but is he not getting it? Like, he should be saying the award-winning.
Man, see, that's
next
shows
time
you don't
pay attention because we talked about that at the beginning.
Oh, you did?
Ben gave you all your props and all. Man,
Georgia too. Gave you all your props.
Oh, they did. I didn't watch it, so now I got to circle back.
See?
So thank you for correcting me because I don't. Like I said, I've been doing okay.
Looking for the accolades upon accolades.
Thank you to everybody. Act TV, thank you, YouTube, Facebook, all the people watching, all those places. We love y'all. Get us off the screen.
Bye, y'all.
After party coming up.
After party.
No, Tuesday. See you Tuesday. That's crazy. See you Tuesday.
Tuesday, but we'll see everybody else in the after party.
Good morning, people. Y'all know who it is. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound. It's your boy James with the Williams. DJ Exclusive in the building. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got one coming up next on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Little baddie, cashing big checks. I bought the whole block out. Now that's a big flex.
No, sir, it is
Peeping out my window like
blue
what's
shirt
next.
and all. Good morning.
Got new levels and new devils out the wazoo. Ain't no worries, life gets better when you find you. And if you mind you, peace will abide and hide you
until
it's time to start
and Pastor Anthony Galloway, man.
Grown, ain't got no curfew. Who brought the bad vibes? Tell that bitch move. Walking all in my ear, now that's a bitch move. Press that I arrive.
Laura Strada, good morning. KFC, Jeremiah, Lily. Promises manifested. Showston, what's going on? Tiger, what's going on, Tiger? Bunny Rabbit, I'm so high. Okay, buddy. Juanita, good morning. Jonathan, Esther, on and it goes. Nicholas, good morning. Movie. Good morning. Shay, good morning to you. Sophia Williams, good morning.
And soon you will find a pretty soul that needs more shine.